Hi, this is Danny Lewis, Steinberg certified trainer, and just wanted to take a look at the new release which is coming out tomorrow on Traxsource. And you can see here, this is the next SoundCloud. Some of you guys might be on this at the moment. It's in beta. So this is the player, and I put a track up just over a week ago. And this was an experiment. I was going to kick off with this concept first, and it's nothing new, to be honest. Literally what I wanted to do was just to try and spread it around a little bit, use it as a kind of promo stage. So I rendered the track at 112 kilobits per second. Now Cubase actually does a very good job at this bit rate, so basically it sounds actually really good, but it's just not good enough for playing out in a club. So I encouraged everybody to go and play it on the web radio stations, put it in podcasts and stuff like that. So 1098 plays, 70 comments, a few of those are me admittedly responding, so that's no indication of anything particularly, but it's been reasonably successful in terms of this, what I would class as a promo stage. And now it's going to be available on sale tomorrow on Traxsource. So the version that is actually on sale, I would say, is enhanced. It's better. I think the mix down is better. There's subtle arrangement differences, and also it's going to come with the bonus beats and the reprise as well. So that's the starting point. We're going to see whether this has an impact on sales for doing it this way. I'm basically just keeping my eyes open, and I'm going to monitor the stats and just see how it feels when the release comes. So let's take a look at the actual track now, and this was created in Cubase. I've kind of got back into Cubase recently. A lot of you guys have noticed that I've done a few videos recently about this. It doesn't mean that I've gone off Ableton. It doesn't mean I've gone off Logic either. I'm the kind of person who likes a bit of variety, to be honest, and I've been using the other two for a long time, and so it's really nice to come back to Cubase. And for me, I've sort of kind of fallen back in love with it. It was my first sequencer back on the Atari ST days, so it's really nice to come back to this. And if you guys are using Cubase, or if you're not using Cubase, you might be wondering what's going on here. I've actually got up here this ruler, so I can see the time, the actual duration of the track. And this is like a split section. That's what I like about this. I can tuck all this away, and so that I'm just really left to this kind of traditional arrange window. But if I need to, I can expose all this stuff here. And this has got the instruments that I've used. It's got the effects that I've used and the groups and stuff. It's all nicely organized, so that can be tucked away once I've got all the routing sorted, and I'm just focusing on the arrangement. So the arrangement, this came pretty quick in terms of getting it together, and really I think the fine details of things like the little fills and stuff, I'll show you some of these, that took a little bit more effort, and also the finer details on the mix, because I was working quickly and I wasn't listening on perfect conditions. I was listening on some headphones and also using the speaker on the MacBook Pro as well, which is something that I have to do, because the situation of the opportunities when I get to do my music work are not always in the perfect situation for listening. So I have to make do, So let's take a look then, and let's focus on the intro. I wanted to get like a kind of almost like a prelude, a kind of pre-track. So this is like a musical, almost interlude before the beats kick in. So for DJs, some people might be put off by this section, but I just wanted to have this kind of musical thing going on first. The track's called Say Goodbye. It's supposed to be a bit of a kind of emotional vibe, and I made this track shortly after I finished working for Point Blank, so there's a certain element of emotional kind of stuff going on here, and I thought the title worked really nicely with the music. So let me show you. Let's go in. So a couple of things going on. The pad is the Korg M1. It's got a real kind of Prince sort of string flavor to it. There is some electric piano here, which is from a library, and I manipulated it and changed it. So it's different to how it used to be. It actually served as the foundation, the original idea for the track. I built all the other musical elements around that. So here's where I have a little vocal hook. I wanted something that was quite infectious, that kind of got into people's heads. So what I did was I took a vocal and chopped it up just going to get the cursor switched over here, and you can see this in here. So it's just a little cut up vocal, triggered, got some swing. You can see here at the moment this is stuck on the 8th grid. I can't remember what swing setting I used on this, but the magic of Cubase is that you can see the grid move if you adjust it. So you see the swing range over here. I'm going to increase that. Can you see now the grid positions are moving? This is what I love about Cubase. You can actually visually see the grid. So I was about 64% swing on there, which is a really nice value. So just once again, you can see here the grid position moving. Now another thing I'll just highlight here, this is a great thing about Cubase. If you click auto apply and adjust that swing, can you see those? You can literally see those notes moving with the swing. So all of those even numbered 16ths are moving to the right. So yeah, about 60, 63 or so. So that's what's going on there. So this is a little cut up vocal, and you know, that becomes this little infectious hook, and that develops as like a new note that comes in here. So this is going to drive some people mad. This, I mean, I've been playing it on loop for a while, and it's kind of got stuck in my head. I think that's either a good thing or a bad thing. We'll see. In terms of the effects, a stereo delay and some reverb here. So this is just standard Cubase effects. Phaser to add the movement, because I wanted to spice it up a bit. A compressor just to deal with some level fluctuations. Just control it a bit more. So we're getting to the second bit where the other vocal comes in. And what it's doing is it's being backed up by this tambourine, so this kind of like picks up the energy a bit. And let me just come back on here. This is a real kind of DJ style cutting thing, almost like a turntable, you know, like a mixer with a crossfader chopping in. So let's have a look. Here we go. So it's like crossfader cutting across, like hip hop kind of style. I mean, you know, in a club, if people have got to know this track and they like this, it's really making quite a bold statement at the beginning. It's like saying, right, okay, you know this track, you know the vocal hook, it's here, it's coming in, you know, real kind of nice ballsy introduction. That's what I wanted to do with this, because for me it's like a contrast. This tune, it's got the sweet kind of musical neo soul kind of vibes, but then it's got the heavyweight kind of beats, almost kind of hip hoppy sort of beats, but house tempo. Nice skippy kind of vibes going on, and a heavy bass line, which is a kind of throwback to some of the speed garage stuff in a way. It kind of actually, I thought about this afterwards. It reminds me a bit of the Defunct Stars stuff I did with Daz IQ. So, you know, Daz IQ was one of the main guys behind Bugs in the Attic. A lot of you guys would have known a lot of the other work that he's done. A very, very talented producer. He and I worked together, and we used to work under the name Defunct Stars. So we had that kind of big bassline thing going on. So there's a lot of the time when I'm making music, there was always this kind of echo of the past that kind of manifests itself, and I think that's what happened here. It certainly wasn't conscious, but when I listened back the other day, I thought, wow, that does actually remind me of something. And specifically, it's the De-Influence remix, Hypnotize. Don't know if any of you guys know that one, but it had a Rhodes, it had a big bass line. I think that's the kind of parallel there, and the beats maybe similar kind of vibe, but like I said, it wasn't conscious. So I tell you what, let's take a look at the programming of the beats. So what we've got is these are in a group, by the way, so the routing, all of these individual drum channels, which are incidentally coming from the Groove Agent 1. The Groove Agent 1 is it's a drum machine. It's kind of like an MPC thing, but with no programming grid on there. You use it as a sound source. So this is a kit. It's in fact a factory kit, and you know, I like to use factory kits sometimes. Don't always choose my own sounds. So here, let's have a listen. Let's bring this back, and let's take a look at the data. So what I like about this is it's quite intricate in terms of what's happening with these snares and stuff. So look, if we focus on the real standard beat element here. The shaker is kind of interwoven. In fact, you know what it is I've got my headphones on and that one's panned more so over to the left side from what I remember. Oh no, I can hear it now. Yeah, you know what it is? It's because it's more in the left ear. And I've got this on one ear. These are like DJ headphones, so I can't hear the other side at the moment. So it's in there. You guys can hear it. I just couldn't. So that's kind of like a standard thing. The tom, I really like that, and the grid position on that one. I'll show you. You can see it's at 16th just before the beat. That's a grid position I really enjoy using. And the snares, these really bring in that nice skippy jacking almost kind of flavour. Let me just also, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just glue these, just try and remember my keyboard shortcuts. There we go. And let's come back on there. So you can see there's like a little extra one over this side just to add a little bit more intensity. So then the other snares, so there's 3 of them. There you go. So if you want that kind of skippy jackany kind of stuff, you know, put your drums in those kind of positions. That can really get that kind of flavour. So they're all together. And another thing, you know, I've been quite lazy over the years, and quite often I'll do beats that are sort of 1 bar or 2 bars. You know, I'd encourage you guys to sort of think maybe sort of at least 2 and 4 bars, maybe 8 bars, so you get some variation as it progresses, because I do think, in all honesty, it makes it a little bit more lively. One of the things I really like about Cubase is it's kind of brought me back to programming everything from scratch and not relying on loops and cut up elements and layered textures like I think I sort of got used to by using Ableton, because it makes it very easy to do that. So this for me feels like a return to the style of, you know, music making that I used to use with the hardware days. That's what I really like about Cubase. It kind of feels like a hardware studio to me. So that's the kind of vibe there. Now, where we're going from the beats into the bass, I wanted to do something a little bit different. So I've kind of like got this section where we've got an extra bar gap. So have a listen. There we go. I just didn't want it to be your sort of straightforward, you know, something new every 8 bars or 16 bars. I just wanted to sort of flip it up a bit. And of course the DJs have mixed the track in, so it should be fine for them at this point. So yeah, watch out DJs, if you're going to mix this, be aware that we've got this kind of 1 bar, and also there's a 2 bar gap later. So the bass, so this is one of my new favourite synthesizers. I've talked about this a fair amount online. This is the Retrolog, which originally only came with Cubase 6.5, but Steinberg have made this available now as a VST AU for anybody else. Alright, so that's a sound that I just made from scratch. In fact, all of the sounds on Retrolog here, there's no presets. I've just made them from the waveforms and stuff and manipulating the sound. So that's the bass. And just show you here, EQ. I was playing around with some ideas, trying some others. I ended up going with this. I'm using this nice compressor, this Yamaha 260, so it's just to balance it out a bit. And let's put that back in. Now we're going into the musical vibe here. This little Rhodes, it's almost like a fill. Introduces the musical elements, and you heard that little sort of nice wind chime thing. I played this in. There you go, and that's coming from a Halion 4 preset called Chime Atmos. So yeah, that's like a nice glistening metallic texture. There we go. Yeah, there's only 1 instrument loaded here, so Halion 4, that's a real heavyweight sampler being used in a very lightweight capacity here. So I'm using those, I'm playing them in at certain points just to provide some atmosphere. So you can see another one over here, just literally running my keyboard either up or down to create that cascade of sound. Back in. I really do love these pads, and one of the things that I found towards the end was the sound was really thick. You know, it had tons of sub bass, and that really was no good with the rest of the elements going on in the tune. So I used this EQ here, this Yamaha one, because it's got a very strong low cut. You see the filter here, it's 165, and I'll show you what it sounded like before that, and also show you the analysis here on the span. So take a good look down here on the left hand side at the sub. So here we go. There you go, look, all that sub bass down here. Let's turn it on. Cuts it right out. So that was much better without that sub bass on there. It's going to sound a lot cleaner, give the whole track much more energy, because there's going to be more headroom basically. So back in. Right, let me just show you this. Here's another patch that I created with the retro log. There's the settings. You can very easily recreate what's going on here. It's just a single oscillator. It's got that nice sort of synth brass flavour because I used the multi-os here. 8 voices, very slight amount of detune. Sawtooth, bit of filter modulation going on here, so you can copy those settings to create that patch. And that's nice. So that's partnered up by a Halion Sonic instrument, this pizzicato string. Let me check the chords. So let's come back in the mix. So a little relaxed contrast here. By the way, the audio's glitching a bit because I'm recording the screen at the same time. This is a full finished project, so there's lots of stuff going on. Nice little pause. And we're back in with another kind of break. This is 2 bars. So more music. So it's nothing new. I mean, you've heard this before. It's just presented in a different way, stripping out the full beats, no bass, and then the rest of it comes building up. And on the finale, basically there's a new synth that comes in and a string. The new synth is another Retrolog instance. The key thing about this is the LFO modulation to cut off, so there's a wobble, and the grid is the quarter triplet. Okay, so that's what's making that move in the way it moves, so you're going to hear that in a second. Little pause before it all kicks back in, so a little motif you've already seen. I've got to rewind that because it missed that little fill, so fingers crossed. So there we go. There's some nice chords. So this synth, little LFO wobble on there, very much inspired by some of the sort of sounds you might find on a DJ Spinner remix, you know, so more inspiration there. These keys, got a whole bunch of stuff going on here. Filter, which is used earlier on in the tune. The phaser to add that nice bassiness. Compressor to deal with the volume. And another EQ, I've just rolled off some extra lows here. And that's because this particular EQ here, the channel EQ, is not particularly strong. So sometimes you need to back it up with a little bit extra low cut. high strings. So these are the M1 again. Real classic sounding patch. Bring some of these back. And you know, these instruments, they really come alive on the reprise version of the track that I've done. So this version that you're hearing here is the dub, right? So this is the whole package is part one, right? So the part one package is the dub. It's the reprise, which is all of the musical elements all beautifully arranged with no beats. So it's a perfect DJ tool. And then there's a bonus beats thing, which also presents the music in a slightly different way as well. So it's mainly beats, but some bass line and keys and stuff. So yeah, that's the plan for part one. Part two is going to be a vocal. Okay, so more on that when I can let you know about that. So for the moment, it's on release the 20th, Friday the 20th of July, exclusively on TrackSource. So that'll be available, and that's actually tomorrow. But for you guys who are watching it back, it will be out. And this, you know, it's quite an honest and relaxed look at this track here. So I'll be really keen to hear if you guys have got any comments or any feedback, anything you want to sort of ask me. I'll see if I can get back to you. So that's it. It's Danny J. Lewis. Say goodbye. It's a new single, new release, and that's on Enzyme Black Recordings and available, certainly initially, exclusively on tracksource.com.